You're watching Traders Morning Setups with Dex the Algo Capitalist. Dex created his pulse wave price trigger reports over 2 decades ago, and he's been using them to ride the pulse waves as a full-time trader ever since. Find out more about Dex's reports and sign up for our next webinar to learn how to use them at pulsewavetrading.com.
Good morning. It's time for our morning show with yours truly, Dex the Algo Capitalist, aka the Vulcan, coming to you live from pulsewavetrading.com, home of the world famous Pulse Wave Price Trigger Reports. All right, so let's take a look at these markets. The US dollar index is down a whopping 84 pips this morning at 102.77, which is right at the low of the session. All right, so this is interesting because it held on to the 103 handle for dear life, and now it just gave up. So we'll see how deeper this goes, but the other pairs are loving it. The euro is now up 86 pips at 109.55. Pound sterling up 93 pips at 127.77, and the Aussie is up 47 pips at 66.29. The Bitcoin futures are trying to bounce back, up 735 this morning, trading at 39,970. Ethereum futures up 24 at 22.22 even. Crude oil futures up 46 cents a barrel at $74.84 a barrel. It briefly did break above $75 a barrel before pulling back. Nat gas is up 14 cents at $2.59. We have gold futures up $7.30 an ounce, trading at $2,033 even. And silver right now is catching bids up 57 pips, trading at $23.03 an ounce. Copper up 8 cents at $3.88. Dow futures are up 124 points, trading at 38,213. E-mini S&P 500 up 24 points, trading at 49.19 even. E-mini NASDAQ 100 futures up 138 and a half points, trading at 17,672 half. The Russell My Hustle is up 17.1 points, trading at 2,007.7. And beans catching a little bit of fire this morning, up 5 cents, trading at $12.45 a bushel. Corn is up 2 cents, trading at $4.48 a bushel. And wheat is up 2 cents, trading at $5.98 per bushel. Well, as you know, the presidential situation last night in New Hampshire, that Republican primary, looks like President Trump is going to get another run at becoming the president again. He walloped his opponent last night in a decisive win. All right. Walloped, shellacked. In markets, the companies behind the products you buy every day might be the best investments. In tech news, Google rolled out an AI tool to organize all your open tabs. And in business, the Zoomtown boom has newcomers and longtime residents at odds with each other. But first, the results. The big story, it's Tesla time. Earnings season is stressful for companies, but arguably no one is under more pressure these days than Tesla. The EV maker reports its highly anticipated fourth quarter and year-end results after the market closes today. Tesla's earnings always draw significant fanfare thanks to the high level of trading activity around the company and its polarizing CEO, but this time feels even more important. The company's share price has had a rocky start to the year, down nearly 16%, despite the broader market being up on the year. The EV market has also shifted as demand is drying up. And then there's the ultimatum Elon Musk issued to Tesla's board about wanting more voting rights or taking his AI projects elsewhere. Yeah. A key area of focus will be where Tesla's profit margins landed for the year after conducting a significant price cut throughout 2023. The price cut, which saw some models discounted as much as 25%, was a bid to deal with the glut in Tesla supply and a shot at competitors moving deeper into the space. The strategy worked in the short term as Tesla enjoyed big wins during the year and saw its share price more than double. But how long can it maintain the price war remains to be seen. How Musk pitches Tesla's year ahead will also be a telling signal, part of what makes Tesla so special in Wall Street eyes and what validates its $655 billion market cap is how innovative the company can be. There's always something on the horizon that's brilliant, fascinating, and most importantly, potentially profitable. For a while, that was the Cybertruck, but that's a carrot Musk can no longer dingle in front of any analyst. Instead, he'll need to look elsewhere. One obvious and anticipated innovation is a self driving feature allowing Teslas to drive without humans. On Monday, Tesla released a new version of its full self driving software to a few owners. But despite previously big promises from Elon regarding this version, the early reviews have been underwhelming, according to Fortune. If self driving remains a pipe dream, that's bad news for Tesla because if analysts can't point to what's next for Tesla, they might start pointing somewhere else. Now, as far as earnings are concerned, Netflix blew out its earnings last night and caused the stock to explode more than $50 higher in after hours trading. So that's going to be interesting to watch. In markets, we have thus commercial real estate might be about to hit its breaking point. The sector was battered in 2023 and has $2.7 trillion in debt set to mature by 2027, according to Capital Economics Deputy Chief Property Economist Corinne Rachura. As a result, borrowers could end up selling into a soft market, which would lead to more valuation markdowns. These consumer staple stocks should be on your investing shopping list, according to Goldman Sachs. The sector full of companies producing everyday necessities is a good bet after a rough 2023. And among the 38 names are Kraft Heinz and Monster Beverage. Bitcoin ETFs were kind of a bummer. The price of the cryptocurrency dropped to a 2 month low on Tuesday, as much of the gains seemed to have been baked in before the SEC's approval. But the benefits from Bitcoin ETFs in the long run could still materialize, according to experts. Google Chrome's new AI feature can now organize your browser tabs. The tool will automatically organize your open tabs into groups based on similarities. It's part of a slate of generative AI tools that Google will soon be rolling out across Chrome. Just keep in mind, folks, as far as your pop up blockers and ad blockers, those will no longer work on Google since Google and YouTube are married. Sam Altman wants to solve the great AI chip shortage himself. The demand for AI chips is heavily outstripped supply right now, so the OpenAI CEO is reportedly considering building his own supply line. Why Netflix just made a $5 billion pro wrestling deal. For years, the streamer didn't want to get into live sports. Now it's entering the arena with a 9 figure agreement with TKO. A major reason it could work is that Netflix also previously wasn't in the ads business, but now it is. Now, they wasn't going to let them ad dollars just walk past them and not grab hold of it. Come on. Let's just be real. As far as wrestling goes, though, I remember, growing up, watching the WWE. And of course, back then it was the WWF, and it was amazing. And you had Hulk Hogan and Blackjack Mulligan. You had Tito Santana. You had Ray the Crippler Stevens. You had Ric Flair. You had Jimmy Superfly Snooker. You had um uh what was that, Kamala. You had Fuji and Saito. You had the British Bulldogs. Man, there were so many characters, man, and we loved it. We would not go outside and play until after wrestling went off. If you went to knock on your friend's door and say, "Yeah, you ready to come out and play?" If wrestling was on, you already knew the answer was no. No one's going anywhere. There was only 2 times in the spring and summer, during summer vacation, where you could not get kids to go outside and play. 2 occasions. That's it. Just 2 occasions. Number one, if wrestling was on. Number two, Kung Fu Action Theater on Sundays. Once that was on, it was a wrap. There will be no kids outside playing. You could look out your window. The playground would be empty because everybody's in the house watching those shows. And that's just how it was. So it's interesting that, wrestling is still a thing and bigger than ever. And now, Netflix is going to be carrying it. I think it's just a matter of time, though, before, apps start streaming live, 24/7. Just look at YouTube. You can watch Bloomberg now live in real time streaming on YouTube 24/7. So, I mean, that's just the sign of the times. That's just technology, catching up to the patterns and needs and wants of its viewers. So I think that's a pretty neat ad for Netflix, and that would also explain why the stock just exploded also in the after hours trading. America's booming cities are suffering from some nasty growing pains. Mid-sized cities exploded over the past few years, but now residents old and new are fighting over housing, traffic, and local culture. United CEOs seem to subtly threaten a move away from Boeing. The airline is expected to lose money over the 737 MAX 9 grounding, the first indication of the financial impact of the door plug blowout saga. United CEO called the grounding the straw that broke the camel's back. There was also a news story I saw earlier this morning about some loose rivets or bolts or something that they found. I mean, that's just sloppy work. So I don't know if humans are doing that or if machines are doing that or if there's some kind of protocol and then there's the pressure on the other end to get things pushed out of the factory, and they're just skimping on the quality control. I mean, there's really no excuse for loose rivets and bolts on a passenger airline. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, you're talking about the lives of human beings and the lives of your pilots, and also a major blow to your bottom line. Every time there's a plane crash, there are lawsuits. All right. And that you don't need that. So I'm just surprised that Boeing, who is a major government contractor, mind you, is having all these problems with its Boeing 737 MAX or any airplane or aircraft for that matter. So one has to wonder if the product that they're putting forward that regular people, everyday people are flying on and risking their lives in doing so unknowingly, what's the quality control look like for its government contracts? Because again, the company doesn't change, it's still the same company. So if they're putting out sloppy work on their commercial airlines, what is the state of the government products they're putting out? I guess only time will tell if the U.S. gets its butt kicked with this war with China and Russia and Iran. I guess we'll know why. If we start hearing our helicopters flying out, falling out the sky, and tanks being easily breaking down or blowing up, or whatever the case may be, I guess we got to point the finger back to the government contractors that are building these weapons and tanks and things of that nature. I mean, this is really sloppy, and this has been going on for a long time, a very long time with Boeing. And yet they're still getting multi-billion-dollar government contracts. I don't trust them enough to fly on their machines, more or less give them a government contract. People need to wake up and take a look at these things. This is ridiculous. A possibly strong labor market. The labor market may be returning to pre-pandemic conditions, but three statistics could indicate some challenges for the year ahead. Goldman Sachs found this out. One strong sign for the economy, however, is that young people are working up to the courage to start switching jobs again. I don't know why they're trying to normalize the gig economy and normalize the switching of jobs. Again, looking at our grandparents and our parents, you would go, you would find a good company to work for. You work until retirement, and then you walk away with either a watch or a pen and a pension to go along with it. Those days are long gone. You no longer have pensions. You no longer can even hope that your job will be there for you to work into retirement. Heck, you don't even know if the company is going to be in existence by the time you go to retire. The companies have been going belly up like crazy since 2008. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Since 2008, there have been hundreds, maybe closer to 1,200 institutions, banks, and corporations that have gone belly up since 2008. During that financial crisis, the United States lost over 300 banks in 1 year. They went belly up. Let's not forget that. And that was just banks. Since then, we've seen the closing of hundreds of branches across the country, where we see company after company going belly up, filing for bankruptcy, trying to hold on, restaurants going belly up. We're looking at dead malls, ghost malls, creepy looking malls that look haunted and probably are. What's going on here? If this isn't major signs of economic collapse, I don't know what is. But let's not forget, there is no collapse. Now, if you don't know what I mean by that, you need to go on to Post-Wave Trading on YouTube and watch my 2 documentaries explaining to you exactly what is happening. Remember, those 2 documentaries were done back in 2016. It's 2024 now. And a lot of those predictions have come to pass. All right. For those that don't know, there is a list online of the 2024 Oscar nominees that you can peruse at your leisure. Temu was one of the fastest growing websites in 2023, according to new data. Empty nest baby boomers won't give up their large homes, and it's hurting millennials with kids. Well, that's not the only thing that's hurting millennials with kids, though. Let's be honest. Every time I'm driving around or whatever, I'm constantly seeing all these apartment buildings going up everywhere. And these are 1 to 2 bedroom apartments. That's right, 1 to 2 bedroom apartments. And a lot of these places are not built for kids or for families. It's 1 to 2 bedrooms. That's not a family. That's a bachelor pad. Okay? They're not building things for families. America has gone anti-family and it's been anti-family for a while now. So everywhere you look and you see sprawl, you see 1 and 2 bedroom apartments and studio apartments and efficiencies. You do not see homes being built for families. You just don't. The homes that I do see being built are for retirees. You know, Uncle Ed and Aunt May don't need the big house no more. So they're building these they call them senior houses, where there's just one level. There's no upstairs or downstairs. It's all one level little houses, cute little houses, but one level houses nonetheless. So don't have to worry about going up and down stairs. Yeah, that's what I see going up. Those senior houses and 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. Yeah. All right. As far as Amazon returns, if you visit a bin store that sells Amazon returns for as little as 25 cents, it may make you rethink your shopping habits. Okay. How the super rich like Walmart Waltons get richer by using trusts to give to charity and save on tax. Well, that's not really new. That's been going on for quite a while. What's happening today? The Metal Hall of Fame induction ceremony is tonight. The seventh annual ceremony will be hosted by Eddie Trunk. Today marks the 40th anniversary of the first Apple Macintosh. It was on sale 2 days after it was shown in a Super Bowl commercial. Interesting. Earnings today: Tesla, IBM, and AT&T, among others. Now, if you missed it yesterday, I have been telling you about it for a while. The doomsday clock. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Here are the results. So the doomsday clock stays at 90 seconds to midnight. All right, now here's what we know about this. The clock was set close to midnight due to worries about Russia's nuclear arsenal, Israel's war on Gaza, and climate change. All right. Now, atomic scientists have kept their doomsday clock set at 90 seconds to midnight, as they did last year, citing worry about Russia's potential use of nuclear weapons amid its invasion of Ukraine, Israel's war on Gaza, and worsening climate change as factors driving the risk of global catastrophe. So check out the headings, the key takeaways from the announcement. All right, so what did the bulletin of the atomic scientists announce? Well, scientists kept their doomsday clock to midnight, and the latest it's ever been set in its 77-year history. Conflict hotspots around the world carry the threat of nuclear escalation. Climate change is already causing death and destruction, and disruptive technologies like AI and biological research advance faster than their safeguards. Now, Rachel Bronson, the bulletin's president and CEO, said, adding that keeping the hands of the clock unchanged from the prior year is not an indication that the world is stable. It's not an indication that the world is stable. What war and conflicts led to this announcement? Well, Russia's large scale invasion of Ukraine, set to reach its second anniversary next month, has escalated tensions with the West to their most dangerous levels since the Cold War. A durable end to Russia's war in Ukraine seems distant, and the use of nuclear weapons by Russia in that conflict remains a serious possibility. In the past year, Russia has sent numerous worrying nuclear signals, Bronson said. Bronson also cited Russian President Vladimir Putin's decision in February to suspend Russia's participation in the New START treaty with the United Nations, which limited the strategic nuclear arsenals of the two countries. The US and Russia, between them, have nearly 90% of the world's nuclear warheads, enough to destroy the planet many times over. Bronson additionally cited Putin's March announcement of Russia's deployment of tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus and the Russian parliament's October passage of a law withdrawing ratification of the global treaty banning nuclear weapons tests. Israel has been at war with Hamas since the Palestinian group based in Gaza launched attacks into southern Israel on October the 7th. As a nuclear state, Israel's actions are clearly relevant to the doomsday clock discussion. A particular worry is that the conflict might escalate more broadly in the region, creating a larger conventional war and drawing in more nuclear powers or near nuclear powers, Bronson said. Climate change was also considered. The world in 2023 entered into uncharted territory as it suffered its hottest year on record, and global greenhouse gas emissions continued to rise, Bronson added. Both global and North Atlantic sea surface temperatures broke records, and Antarctic sea ice reached its lowest daily extent since the advent of satellite data. Bronson said 2023 also was a record breaking year for clean energy with $1.7 trillion in new investments. Offsetting this, however, were fossil fuel investments of nearly $1 trillion, Bronson said. Her organization also warned about artificial intelligence. AI enabled disinformation efforts could be a factor that prevents the world from dealing effectively with nuclear risks, pandemics, and climate change, a press release added. So, what is the doomsday clock? The doomsday clock is a symbolic timepiece showing how close we are to destroying our world with dangerous technologies of our own making, according to the Bulletin, a Chicago based nonprofit organization that controls the clock. The Bulletin describes it as many things all at once. It's a metaphor, it's a logo, it's a brand. It's one of the most recognizable symbols in the past 100 years. The closer it moves to midnight, the closer humanity is to the end of the world. Apocalyptic threats could arise from political. All right, I don't know what happened, but I just got booted out, booted off of the YouTube. Oh my goodness, I'm not really being controversial, am I? I'm just talking about news. My goodness. All right, how is the clock set? The hands of the clock are moved closer to a farther away from midnight based on the scientist's reading of existential threats at a particular time. The bulletin updates the time annually. A board of scientists and other experts in nuclear technology and climate science, including 10 Nobel laureates, discuss world events and determine where to place the hands of the clock each year. Now, the bulletin is a bit like a doctor making a diagnosis, the organization said on its website. We look at data as physicians look at lab tests and x rays, and also take harder to quantify factors into account, as physicians do when talking with patients and family members. We consider as many symptoms, measurements, and circumstances as we can. Then we come to a judgment that sums up what could happen if leaders or and citizens don't take action to treat the condition, he added. Can we still turn the clock back? According to the bulletin, it's possible and it has happened before. But for it to happen, the bulletin recommends that three of the world's leading powers, the US, China, and Russia, start a serious dialogue. They have the capacity to pull the world back from the brink of catastrophe. They should do so with clarity and courage and without delay, the statement said. When was the doomsday clock created? The clock was created in 1947 by the Bulletin, which was founded 2 years earlier by scientists Albert Einstein, J. Robert Oppenheimer, and Eugene Rabinowitz, along with University of Chicago scholars. During that time, the clock was set at 7 minutes to midnight. But after the Soviet Union successfully tested its first atomic bomb in 1949, Rabinowitz, who was then the Bulletin's editor, moved the clock to 3 minutes to midnight. The farthest the clock has been from midnight was 17 minutes. That was in 1991 when the U.S. President George H.W. Bush and Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev signed the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty to reduce the number of their country's nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles. Now, according to the University of Chicago, until recently, the closest it had ever been set was 2 minutes to midnight in 1953 when the US and the Soviet Union tested thermonuclear weapons, and in 2018 because of a breakdown in international order of nuclear actors, as well as the continuing lack of action on climate change. Then in 2023, the clock moved its closest to midnight, just 90 seconds away. The organization said the update was made largely, though not exclusively, because of the mounting dangers of the war in Ukraine. The possibilities that the conflict could spin out of anyone's control remains high, Bronson said. The doomsday clock is placed in the bulletin's office at the University of Chicago. Yeah, the world is in turmoil at this time. Believe it or not, though, here's the weird part. You know, people seem to be shaking all this off. They're not really showing any real signs of concern one way or another. Have you noticed that? Yeah, so something is definitely brewing. Something is definitely going on. And we do need to think about what it is. And I have to tell you there's a lot of signs on the wall. And I don't know. I think I may need to do a video on that just in and of itself. So we'll see. Anyway, that was today's show. Please slash that like button, smash it, slash it, do what you got to do. Share, subscribe. You know what to do. System works if you work this system. Bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered. So remember to take what you can and give nothing back. And on that note, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.